What would happen if the Yellowstone volcano erupted? How catastrophic blast could impact the world? After it emerged, a huge fountain of magma has been discovered under the supervolcano. We take a look at the catastrophic effects it could have if it blows. After the news emerged that a huge fountain of magma has been discovered under the Yellowstone supervolcano, fears have risen of a huge deadly eruption underneath the American National Park. Scientists are already aware of giant magma chambers underneath Yellowstone and have previously said there is roughly a 700,000 to 1 chance that the volcano will erupt each year. Two researchers from Texas believe they've found proof of the presence of a magma plume underneath Yellowstone using new imaging techniques. Based on these readings, the team discovered a 45 by 34 mile channel where seismic waves are slower. University of Texas geologist Dr. Peter Nelson, who led the research, explained his findings in the journal Nature. Our results strongly support a deep origin for the Yellowstone hotspot, and also provide evidence for the existence of thin thermal mantle plumes that are currently beyond the resolution of global tomography models, he said. What is a supervolcano? The term supervolcano is used to describe volcanic fields that produce exceptionally large volcanic eruptions with an eruption of magnitude 8, which is the largest value on the Volcanic Explosivity Index, VEI. This means the volume of deposits for that eruption is greater than 1,000 cubic kilometers. They are volcanoes with the potential to cause massive danger to the global population, and there are only a handful across the globe, of which Yellowstone is one. David Rothery, a professor of planetary geosciences at the Open University, says that the results of a supervolcano eruption could be catastrophic, with a nuclear winter-type scenario in which ash from the eruption could blot out the sun and suspend photosynthesis in parts of the world. A report, Extreme Geohazards, Reducing the Disaster Risk and Increasing Resilience, warns governments throughout the world are woefully ill-prepared for such a cataclysmic event. It reads, although in the last few decades earthquakes have been the main cause of fatalities and damage, the main global risk is large volcanic eruptions that are less frequent but far more impactful than the largest earthquakes. Officially, the Yellowstone supervolcano is called the Yellowstone caldera. Caldera volcanoes are volcanoes where the diameter of the crater exceeds 1 mile. These form when so much lava is blown out so rapidly it partially empties the underlying magma chamber. When this happens, the summit of the volcano collapses into the emptied magma chamber, creating a dip in the ground. Yellowstone sits in 3 such dips, created during 3 mega-explosions, 2.1 million, 1.3 million and 640,000 years ago. Only 7 known caldera-forming collapses have occurred since the start of the 20th century, most recently at Burrabunga volcano in Iceland in August 2014. In August 2014 there were a series of around 1,6 thousand earthquakes in the area over the course of 2 days up to magnitudes of 4.5 m. The eruptions caused sulfur dioxide to enter the air, and the area around Burrabunga was closed to visitors until March of the next year. What would happen if Yellowstone erupted? Although most people associated lava with a huge volcanic eruption, this would not be the biggest fear. Ash would be a much deadlier threat to the United States. In 2014, scientists in the journal Geochemistry, Geophysics, Geosystems used modeling to estimate the distribution of ash that would result from an eruption at Yellowstone. The study found that an area of around 500 miles surrounding Yellowstone could see ash fall to a depth of more than 10 centimeters. This could lead to a huge loss of life, not just through initial ash fall but also due to pollution over an extended period. There are no ways of telling just how deadly the ash cloud would be, but it would have devastating effects for thousands of miles across the United States, scientists predict. The fallout would include short-term destruction of Midwest agriculture, with rivers and streams clogged. Air travel would also be disrupted across most of North America. People living in the Pacific Northwest might also be choking on Yellowstone's fallout. This region includes the states of Oregon, Washington, and Idaho, and usually Montana and Wyoming. People who live upwind from eruptions need to be concerned about the big ones, said Larry Maston, a USGS volcanologist and lead author of the 2014 ash study. Sulfur dioxide, such as was released in the 2014 Burrawarbunga caldera eruption, could also cause a real problem for the climate as it causes cooling in the atmosphere by absorbing sunlight and reflecting some back to space. According to Live Essence, cooling this causes could last up to 10 years and cause crop failures, famine, and alter rainfall patterns. How scared should we be? A Yellowstone supereruption is highly unlikely to wipe out all life on Earth, as there have been supereruptions in the past that we've survived. But a Yellowstone blast could have huge effects on climate, food security, transportation, and supply chains. These events have the potential to trigger global disaster and catastrophe. However, despite the recent discovery of the fountain of magma at Yellowstone, many scientists believe the risk of a supereruption at the site is very low. Scientists have previously said there is roughly a 700,000 to 1 chance that the volcano will erupt each year. It is entirely possible that we will never again see an eruption at the site of the magnitude of those in the past. The U.S. Geological Survey states that the odds are very high that Yellowstone will be eruption-free for the coming centuries. However, experts have warned a supervolcano eruption is at its highest possibility for 300 years, and one could even go off in the next 80 years, devastating the planet. Experts of the European Science Foundation chance of such as eruption happening at one of the major volcanoes within 80 years is 5 to 10%,